Hello and welcome to Creepy Puppets Presents. I'm your creepy puppeteer, Tommy. I want to talk briefly about the neo-pagan movement. Now, what's neo-paganism? Well, neo-paganism is a philosophical and religious movement that seeks to revive one or more aspects of pre-Abrahamic religion in traditions in cultures where there used to be a pre-Abrahamic tradition, and after the Abrahamic tradition came in, the old tradition was suppressed, and this is a movement that seeks to revive one or more aspects of those traditions. Now, as I see it, there are sort of three groups within the neo-pagan movement. So the first is the sort of modern syncretics. These are people who want to take these pre-Christian traditions and bring them forward into the present, into a modern synthesis that is not necessarily terribly faithful to the old traditions. So Wicca is probably the most clear example of this. It seeks to take elements of particularly Celtic religions and bring them up into a kind of modern synthesis. The second group are the Reconstructionist neo-pagans who want to go back and reconstruct the religion as it was in pre-Christian times and copy as many aspects of that into the present time as is possible. So very interested on the other hand with historical analysis. The third group are those who wish to revive pagan philosophies, so sort of philosophical neo-paganism. Those who are interested in reviving Stoicism, those who are interested in reviving Neoplatonism, those who are interested in reviving Hermeticism. The advantage of these traditions is that they're often working from a continuous intellectual tradition, as opposed to trying to pull something back out of the past into modern day in whatever forms. There's certainly a degree of tension here between the syncretics and the reconstructionists. The syncretics are often accused of being fluffbunnies, so people who don't take the religion's traditions they're borrowing from terribly seriously and are more or less stereotyped as sort of new age hippie gurus who take a bit of this and a bit of that. While the reconstructionists are often categorized as caring far too much about history and of being essentially LARPers, dressing in, period appropriate costume and doing period appropriate religious rituals. So my take on neo-paganism is that as a spiritualist, I have personally encountered the reality and existence of pre-Christian deities. They're the spirits, the gods are the pagan gods are real, and they are the same as Abrahamic angels, and they are the same as uh, certain aspects of the fairies. They're talking about the same group of beings, these sort of celestial Davic beings. So yes, the neo-pagan gods are definitely real, and they're also definitely not demons. They belong to a celestial class of being. However, I do have a problem with certain aspects of both of the approaches I sort of previously discussed. The I do agree with the fluff bunny characterization of some of the modern syncretics. But on the other hand, religions change over time. And so whatever part of the religion that exists now, well, that's the religion as it exists now. Religions do naturally change over time. And then another, criticism I have of the Reconstructionists is that a lot of times they're taking from existing cultures. So in the context of Celtic Reconstructionism, you'll often hear that, well, Celtic mythology wasn't really codified until after it was Christianized, and so the the role that the gods play and the stories about them that have survived to us probably aren't accurate, but we can never get back to the original accurate stories. Of course, the problem with that is that Celtic culture is a living culture. So the mythology that survives to us is part of our present culture. It seems like it's just as much cultural appropriation to try to reconstruct Celtic religion as faithfully as possible in the pre-Christian era as it is to take a random element from, say, Celtic culture and try to synthesize it into your present system. I guess I'm really unhappy with sort of either approach. I also think that we tend to get hung up on sort of the aesthetic of the existence of these beings rather than the fact that they exist. And I think that that's one of the ways in which a spiritualist perspective, which acknowledges these spirits as existing, but isn't necessarily involved in their worship, can really appreciate their existence apart from the cultural context without doing either one of those two forms of cultural appropriation. This is probably not going to be the last video I'm going to do on this topic, but for right now, I will bid you all adieu, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.